Hey, this is John March, Guitar Outside the Box, and this is number 4 of the sort of introductory lessons, ideas for the series that we're going to be creating for Guitar Outside the Box. So I really want to stress that most of the material I presented so far is just really introductory ideas. So when I talk about the idea of seeing the guitar differently or expanding your harmonic vocabulary or the value of a single note, these are areas that will be used to focus when we practice and we learn new material. Today I want to talk about this idea of creating composite scales that will help with improvisation. So most often what's taught for guitar players at least is a bunch of shapes inside the box is how this sort of series came about. And the most common one that we learn when we first start playing is the pentatonic scale. Right? And then the blues scale. Right? And that shape, that box, that particular shape gets ingrained in our hands, and it's not really becoming very musical because it's not really very often, someone's playing blues and I'll play. I might play. So I'm actually jumbling the notes and making a melody. But one of the ideas that struck me is that what makes a lot of the guys who I like sound interesting is that they're not stuck in the idea of one scale to generate all of the melodies in order to do this. So for example, that they'll talk about on a dominant 7th chord that you have the option of playing a blues scale. Okay. You can play a Mixolydian scale. You can hear there's a really big quality of difference there. Basically, it's a major scale with a flatted 7th. You can play a Lydian flat 7 scale, which is a major scale with a raised 4th and a dominant 7th. You can play a symmetric diminished scale. You can play a melodic minor scale a half step above the name of the chord. It's sometimes called Superlocrian. You can play a whole tone scale. So you can also sometimes play on a blues, on a dominant chord. You can actually play Dorian. It's an interesting effect. You get that minor third. But what happened there is I added the major third. And the idea I kind of want to get to is that you can create ways to practice that generate melodies for you that are based on creating composite sequences of notes. And what I mean is that any scale, any chord, is a system of organization. So that I know that on a blues scale, I play the root, the minor third, the 4th, the raised 4th, the 5th, the flatted 7th, and then the root. And on a Mixolydian scale, it's the root, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the flatted 7th, and the root. So all these are just systems of organizations of getting from one interval to the other. But what if I were to combine, like I'll stay in one position for right now to show, but what if I were to combine, for example, the blues scale with the Mixolydian scale? So I would get the root, 3rd, 4th, sharp 4th, 5th, flat 7th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, 1. So that's a really different sounding scale. And you can see that's already a really different sound. You can see that it creates a melody that's more kind of like a little dark at the beginning and then a little brighter. And then, and all I did was combine those two scales. I made it the blues scale on the bottom, and then the Mixolydian scale. And you can also descend with what's called the jazz Mixolydian, which is where you have the major seventh descending. So, my idea is that as you can combine scales, you can do as many as you want, ascending and descending, and create melodic ideas. So, for example, if I do the ascending blues scale, Mixolydian, and then diminished, and then back down on the blues scale, and then the Mixolydian. So you can see that I've generated this whole sequence of ideas that's linear. It's not very melodic, but it's based on composite scales. I could have done the same thing where I went blues scale, Mixolydian to symmetric diminished, to, I don't know, Lydian flat 7. So what you can start to get used to is this idea of combining all of those ideas to start generating melodies, and they give you ideas. If I'm playing a blues, I'm not just stuck playing those boxed patterns. There's a whole plethora of possibilities. So composite scales and how they can come together is a really big topic, because this is all position based, what I've been doing, but you can get into these whole things of single string scales, like the A minor pentatonic from the lowest possible note on the low E string would be, adding the blue note, obviously the same on all 6 strings. So you can see that you can start generating ideas that move across the neck out of one position. So for example, I could take the blues scale and then move to Mixolydian to symmetric diminished to straight diminished. So there I ended with diminished to blues to Lydian flat 7. So the basic idea is that you can create note sequences in all of the keys that aren't just based on one sequence of small groupings of notes, but more expanded to create more detailed and intricate melodic ideas. So if you think this was interesting and you like what I'm talking about, sign up for the series down below. If you want to hear things that I've recorded, you're welcome to visit Zen Guitar Guy, Bandcamp Zen Guitar Guy. If you're interested in lessons or you want to check out my website, it's zenguitarguy.com. And we're looking at guitar outside the box, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on what I've presented so far. And again, keep in mind that these are introductory ideas that we'll use to frame much larger topics and stuff that we can use to to really get creative in exploring the guitar. All right, so thanks for being here. This is Guitar Outside the Box, and this is John March. I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks.